Ordinance Committee meeting, March 12th, 2025. This meeting was advertised pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-Q through 10:4-21. Notices were placed in the official publications for Monroe Township, i.e. South Jersey Times, Courier Post, and the Sentinel of Gloucester County. Copy of the notice is posted on the bulletin board at the municipal complex. Please note, this meeting will be live streamed on the Township's YouTube channel, www.youtube.com @MonroeTownshipNJ.org. Is this supposed to be org or .org? We'll get back there. In accordance with Ordinance O:56-2024, a link for the copy of this recording will also be posted on the Township's website, www.MonroeTownshipNJ.org, for the public to view at their convenience. All rise for a salute to the flag, led by Councilman Brian Cope. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Council Vice President, Mrs. Adams.
Here.
Councilman, Mr. Coe.
Here.
Mrs. Fox.
Here.
Council President, Mr. Heverly is excused. Mr. O'Reilly.
Here.
Mr. Rossi.
Here.
Mr. Valentine.
Here.
Mayor Wolf.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Kurz.
Here.
Solicitor, Ms. Zimmerman.
Here.
Business Administrator, Mr. DeHart.
Here.
Director of Code Enforcement, Mr. Sebastian.
Here.
Director of Community Affairs, Mrs. Park.
Here.
Director of Parks and Recreation, Mr. Bruno is excused. Director of Public Safety, Mr. Rumpf is excused. Director of Public Works, Mr. Dilks is excused. Director of Real Estate, Ms. Pizzatski.
Here.
Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Boyer.
Here.
Captain Burton. Here. And myself, Deputy Municipal Clerk Jen Harbison, here.
Thank you. Can I get approval, a motion to approve the minutes of Ordinance Committee meeting November 13th, 2024, and Ordinance Committee meeting February 12th, 2025?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none. Ordinances for review. First one up, we have Chapter 175.8 Land Management, Chapter 104 Buildings. Can I get a motion to move forward for first reading at this evening's council meeting?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none. Next, Chapter 175-91-.2 Land Management Billboards. Do we want anything to discuss on this particular? I don't think so. It's just for first reading, right? Okay. Can I get a motion to move to first reading?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none. Next up, Chapter 175-163.4 Land Management Cannabis. Jim, is there anything you want to
Yeah, so,
articulate?
yeah, this change was requested. We have a facility in town that was looking to open up a cannabis facility, but a part of our ordinance states that it can't be attached to any residential unit. The state law, when it was written, and I verified this with our planner, when the state law was written, it did not, that was going to be part of the plan moving forward. However, they removed that from the state law. So right now, our ordinance is more restrictive. I don't think we have many places that would apply to this, but this building has I think it's a one-bedroom or studio apartment on there that's attached to it, and by taking this off of our ordinance now, it will allow them to be able to open there. It also will fix that if we do get any mixed-use properties, because the ordinance also states if it's a mixed use, that they're not allowed to be a cannabis facility in there as well. And that will open that ability up for, a developer who's coming in to do a mixed use to be able to put cannabis there as well.
Okay. So you and I talked about, and I think, Mayor, you and I kind of touched briefly. My only concern with this particular property in question, it's kind of bringing this one up, which is the old Brockens Corner, I believe.
Yes.
Is I'm not opposed to the rental or the unit that's there now. What I'm not supportive of is if that unit has any direct interior access, whether locked or not, into the building. So I'd rather, if there's going to be a residence even in a mixed-use scenario, like a big commercial mixed-use facility, that there would be a completely separate entrance and that there is no access, because I'm gonna bet or guess that that Brocken's apartment probably has an interior stairwell inside, possibly, that goes down into the main facility.
If you're willing to, I know that the business is, their representatives
okay.
are here, if they would like to, if you can answer that question.
Yes.
You'll probably have to come up and give your name to, put on record, but I don't know the answer to that, if that one does. And
I'm
maybe
not-
that's
I'm not
something-
familiar either.
And maybe
It's-
that's something we can add into this piece, like if we remove this, or maybe modify it, if we can do that even tonight for the first reading, just to put in there that, any property that does share the facility just has no access from that unit into the commercial property. Does that fix your need?
It does, but I'd like to understand this particular
Yeah,
layout.
so the resident that lives on the property.
Sorry, can you just state your name
Oh,
and
sorry,
address for the
sorry.
record?
Hi, my name is Al Kamara. My business is Spark 9 Dispensary, and we're looking to open up on North Black Horse Pike. Yeah, 415 North Black Horse Pike. Sorry.
Okay, continue, please.
Yeah, so the property the tenant that lives in the property lives in the back, and they don't have any access to our property because we actually go inside and we don't see no any stairwells or anything that has access to their apartment and our retail spot. So that's
Okay.
what I pretty much wanted to say.
All right, so this particular only has one egress and ingress through the exterior and not anything, which
Correct.
is kind of where my head is. So I mean, from an ordinance perspective, I'm supportive, but I'd like to see language in there that actually strictly prohibits that for anything in the future.
I would think that the state probably covers that with their inspections, because they're probably
think?
not, they're not gonna allow an extra, residential home to be connected with direct access.
Yeah, if they actually had access to actually come into our store, we wouldn't pass the CRC inspection.
Right.
Okay, all right, so the state already has that covered then. All right, good. Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none? All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, can I move that forward for first reading? Can I get a motion?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next up is Chapter 243, rent leveling, and I'm not 100% sure what we have going on with this one in particular. Are you familiar with the changes on this one? Or Jim, or anyone? Jim,
Okay, so I
I think
believe
we're
that.
taking away the 54 units, right?
Yeah, it was basically saying the units from the 2017 agreement for Summerfields, they would be, the 54 units, 17 in this phase and 30-something in the other phase would be exempt from that rent leveling ordinance because there is a rent increase stipulation in that 2017 agreement. So that was the change with this.
all right. We move that forward for first reading. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none. Next up, we have police rules and regulations. I'm not sure if we need any clarification, Jim. I think it was,
There was a very minor ad from the police chief about, again, it was tattoos and so forth, and this is something that council generally approves every couple of years.
Yep.
So
Okay.
this part requires council's approval for rules and regs.
can I motion to move forward to first reading?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none? All right, that handles the ordinances for first reading. Next up, we have matters for discussion. Chapter 280-19, animal control.
So was optimistic that we would have the TNVR modifications done for this meeting. However, when the Gloucester County Animal Control gave us the recommendations, they had more changes as far as they recommending different things with licensing. Our Board of Health and I, we spoke, we disagreed with one of them, so I sent them a response back trying to clean this up. We looked at some of the other ordinances, like Franklin has one that's pretty successful. They said they have very little problems with, so we're trying to kind of combine them to make ours, hopefully we don't have to keep addressing this every couple of years with the TNVR. So I believe we'll be able to have this done for April's meeting.
Okay. A quick question. Some of us were on council when, actually, yeah, that was your favorite. What happened with the previous company?
So they just aren't able to support this anymore. They don't have the funds, they're not getting the funds for to handle the vaccinations and the surgeries for the animals that are taken. So this other company is willing to do it, but they're just, the way the ordinance was written, it was a bit heavy lift on them. And that's one of the other reasons that what was it, Pet Savers was first. And this other company is looking to have us make some changes to take a little bit off. We were very heavy on the reporting for a sponsor and then a caretaker separate. Most of the other ordinances don't require those two separate pieces. We still want reporting, we still want some other accountability, but it's really, the way it was laid out was very labor intensive, even for our Board of Health, as far as getting pictures of every cat that was there. There's a lot of things that weren't, I guess, realistic, that they were struggling, the caretakers and the sponsors were struggling to get that information to us.
Okay.
And again, I think the program's been successful. It's reducing cats. I mean, some places not as fast as they would like, but it's been successful. They've had a lot that have been taken away for adoption, kittens and so forth, and they've had several released back, that have been vaccinated, spayed, neutered, and returned back. So, it's,
Okay. So are we ready to move that? Not yet, right?
no, I
We have tweak that.
need to figure out
We don't
a
have
couple
the
pieces, because
draft.
they're also they talk about licensing changes, and that's a different ordinance, a different section of the ordinance. So I will,
Okay.
very optimistic I'll have it done for April.
Okay. All right, next up is Chapter 175, Land Management, Open Space and Recreation. That one is mine. I'm not sure, Jen, did you disseminate this to council? So we did a first draft of the ordinance to kind of tighten up the protections of the open space. I had some minor red lines that Sandra pretty much immediately added in. So obviously, I don't want to rush this to first reading, but I'd like to get everyone's input. If you haven't had a chance to review it, Jen, well, you all have it in your email, so please take a read. I'd like to see it on the agenda for next month for first reading, or what, in 2 weeks?
In 2 weeks. if you
But
want.
I would really like everyone's feedback, if possible, or all good, a go, no go. So if you could all take some time, and again, this is new, this just hit, so I'm not expecting everyone to drop what they're doing and that they should have read it, because it just kind of went on the fly here, and then I made a tweak to it earlier today. So, like to target 2 weeks, so if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to me direct on this one, if we want to tweak anything. Okay? And next up, we have signs. I'm not 100% sure on this one. Do you know what the details were on the signs?
Yeah, I could speak to this. This is for the prohibition of unauthorized signs on public property. Basically, each year that we have an election, the clerk's office is inundated with complaints about signs and what signs can be on property, what signs can not be on property. So we're asking that we just adopt an ordinance that prohibits any political signs or any signs there, for that matter, on the property and there are some exceptions regarding official government notices, public safety notifications, temporary community event signage by the township. Signs like that would obviously be authorized. And this goes for any sign, banner, flag, or similar display placed on public property in violation. So it's just to kind of help our clerk's office with the numerous complaints that they get every single election that we have here.
Okay, so, public property, so I just want to be clear, though. We're talking about township-owned public property.
Correct.
So,
Library.
it gets into, I mean,
Pfeiffer
we all
Community
hear it.
Center.
What about the school? And the school has their own
School has their own.
policies
Yes.
tied to it. But from a township, so if we're talking about library, Pfeiffer Center, there'll be 0 signs of any sort, election day thereof.
Correct.
In any
And it
way,
would
shape,
level
or
the
form.
playing field for all
Everyone,
candidates.
yeah, I'm fine. Brian, you're the liaison to the school. Can you, I mean, listen, I think we need to be synced up. Can you connect with them? Absolutely. I'd hate to have us have something truly documented and written out, and then Eileen gets a lot of calls and complaints from the school, and then she has to call the school. Let's just nip this in the bud, and if they don't have a formal resolution or whatever their protocols are? Can we tee them up so that way everyone is on the same?
Yep,
playing
100%,
field?
yep, no problem.
All right. So are we ready for this one for first reading on the next session?
I believe we are.
I'll get right on
Thank you. It'd be just, I think they have something, I just don't know.
that. There's a meeting tomorrow night. That's-
They have one tomorrow night?
They looked it up.
Perfect.
I mean, look, if we
Perfect.
push it to the next council meeting, I
Yeah,
think it'll be good.
I just want to do it, I'd rather it kind of be in sync. If they don't have something formalized, let's have them give the opportunity to get it on their agenda. We'll still push ours through, but at least we're all on the same playing field similarly within a couple weeks. All right. Anyone have any new business this evening?
So, in reference to the cannabis ordinance, we did get a couple inquiries about cultivation in greenhouses. Tim Kernan, our planner, has looked into this. Our ordinance is silent on it. Again, the state does allow it, but with our ordinance being silent on it, he wanted to bring that to council's attention to see if we wanted to address it, if you wanted to address it in our ordinance. I know some of the concerns with greenhouses are security and odor. So there are things, I guess, that, we would need to consider. I will tell you the two properties that have reached out are down in the very southern end where there are woods and farms. Nursery right now is one of them that's has actually not been sold yet, but they're looking to sell to a cannabis cultivation company. And the other property's already purchased where they're going to do cultivation. They're also looking to add, in addition to a structure, to do cultivation inside. They would like to do it in the greenhouse outside as well. I tried to get the details on the size of the properties. One of them is several different lots. I don't know if all of them are included, but if they are, I believe it's like a 7-acre property. The other one I don't have because I only have the street address. I don't have the block and lot to verify that to see for sizes if we wanted to look at size of property that we would need to require for something like that. But I wanted to let you guys talk about it, see how you wanted to go, and then I could work on something under your recommendation moving forward.
So when you brought this to my attention, that's why I said bringing up the new business. I mean, one of the questions I had for Jim is, in my, when I'm thinking of the cultivation, right, I'm thinking of the security, a building. But when you start getting into the greenhouse thing, the first thing I said to Jim, so someone can walk up to a big plastic soup bone with a razor blade, walk right in. So, Jim, but they also have security protocols. And I didn't even think about the smell, but that's another major issue when you have one of these we'll call it light scented plastic greenhouses situation. What's everyone's take on what we're talking about here? I'm looking at your face, you're like,
I had concerns about
Yeah,
I had
I
concerned
did.
about the smell. I mean, when we had talked about some of the facilities, about the smell and the aroma around town, that's one thing, I was opposed to, in addition to your thought about security. But if they have security protocols in place,
I think we should really look at something with acreage, right? If it's a large plot of land where the smell's not gonna, and I don't know, they might be able to put filtration systems in the greenhouses. I'm not a person that's involved in that, but, I would think that maybe we limit it and find out how many acres or set a limit to make sure that we're protecting that.
so
We have to
I
look.
like where you're going with it, because at the end of the day, if it's a large, you also, right, I think we need to be careful in being, we'll call it, spot approvals or spot zoning, whatever phrase I'm using in my head. But, if it's a 10-acre farm and there's no adjacent residential neighbors, and it's maybe commercialized, I can't say that I'm dead opposed, but I think any situation where you have a residential property adjacent to this, I really don't care how big it is, I have a problem with that.
I agree.
With it being loose like that, and I say loose being plastic where you literally can walk, listen, you walk fast enough, you walk right through the plastic too. And I know they'll say they'll have security and all that stuff, but I'm just a firm believer in having a locked door and walls in this situation when it comes to cultivation, growing it.
No, I agree with you, Pat. I feel the same way.
So can we, is there more details that we can get? I mean, we're having a discussion at this point. Is there anything we can get more concrete from how the state's regulating that?
Yeah, I can follow up with CRC. I can also follow up with our planner and see if there's other stipulations that they have, if there's other towns, like Deputy Mayor asked me, if there's another town that has something similar to this. And I guess, you know, again, give Deputy Mayor credit, he's like, some greenhouses are all glass, they're not just plastic. So is there a different situation, that like a different type of greenhouse that we're not thinking of? Because I know, again, when I think of greenhouse, not a farmer, but, you know,
Well,
I think of
the
plastic as
property
well.
in question, and we won't mention property names or anything, I don't think that's pertinent, is cheap, white, clear plastic. And it's not glass, it's torn, rip, walk through it type thing. They're not, some of it is a little more solid than others, but by and large, a lot of that is just plastic clear wrap.
I also have a meeting with one of the two companies on Monday that's looking to do this, so I can ask them how their structure's set up, you know, and see if, and get some more guidance from what they're looking to do, and I can bring it back to you either at the next ordinance meeting, or even if it's something that seems to be more secure with if it's more of a glass structure and it's you know, locked better with odor control. Is it something you want me to look to put
Yeah, I
into
mean,
an ordinance?
to me, but, you know,
I think
glass
steel
walls.
buildings, I think steel buildings are better with a
I mean,
filtration system
listen, a pole
and
building is
ventilation.
a lot cheaper than anything else these days, and it's a heck of a lot better than, you know, cellophane or whatever we want to call it these days.
I'll get I'll do the research and I'll bring it to the next ordinance
Yeah,
meeting and
yeah.
we'll revisit it then.
Let's just get a little more detail. I don't want to rush into this one by any means, because it could have impacts on if there's any nearby residents. So, okay. Anything else with new business this evening? Seeing none. Unfinished business. Seeing none. Can I get a motion to open to the public?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none. At this time, if anyone wishes to address the ordinance committee, it's open to the floor.
Let's try this again, all right? 'Cause Jim kind of threw me on the spot last time, and I just, you know, I had a little
You're
cold
fine.
feet.
You just
All
want to
right.
have to state your name.
Yeah, state
for
your
the
name and
record.
address again, sorry.
All right, so good evening, everybody. My name is Al Kamara, and I'm honored to stand before you today as to represent my startup business, Spark 9. Today, I want to speak not just about my journey, but also about the important issues that affect not only my business, but the entire community here in Monroe Township. For the past 6 months, I've been working 2 jobs to support my 3-year-old son, my business, and my monthly expenses. My motivation for starting this business is primarily to support my family. I want to relieve my mother, who's currently working 3 jobs at the age of 65, from her financial burden she's facing. This dream of mine is not merely about my financial gains, it's to represent and hope that she has the rest that she deserves after years of hard work. As many of you know, we're living in a rapid changing world, one that demands innovation and adaptability. Yet the ordinance that currently governs our business landscape is unfortunately outdated. It no longer reflects the reality of today's economy or diverse needs of our community. This isn't just about me, it's about all of us. Every retailer, every worker, every resident in our township that stands to benefit from the thriving local economy. This poses significant changes for retailers like myself, who thrive to not only survive, but to thrive amidst changes in this township. Having a letter of support from Monroe Township represents a vital step to our journey. This letter will not only demonstrate our partnership, but also serve as a testament to share commitment with having improvement to our residents here in Monroe. Your support can significantly impact our progress, helping us navigate the necessary processes and create a stronger foundation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to address council, this evening on ordinance? Seeing none, can I get a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, can I get a motion for adjournment?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. I gotta get kicked out of my seat to my next seat.